Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about what are you broadcasting, because what you're broadcasting the loudest is what you're creating. Okay, so for example, I was born in Johannesburg in South Africa, and I moved around in South Africa, and in my adult years I would often talk about how I'm a child of apartheid, which is fine, but not when you're trying to create wealth and money. You've got to use those words wisely, and if you are coming from the back end of not understanding the laws of money, those things can create. So you will always be this disadvantaged person, okay? So, and then I was also broadcasting for the longest time. When I was in corporate, I would broadcast. I was in corporate like for 25 years before I became self-employed. And I would broadcast about the company and management and how some people get by and others don't. And some people work harder than others and they're smarter than others, and how are they making it and the rest of us aren't. And how some of us have got more than one or two jobs for the salary of one person. It's a long litany of grievances that people broadcast on the daily when they're in corporate. And I've got a client who has a business, and his dad was running the business, and his dad handed over to him, and he's in his late 40s and the dad is in his 70s. And even his dad, they're clashing a lot, and the dad has to let go, and his opinions don't work. He doesn't understand the technology systems, the accounting systems. He still thinks he can run everything. Then I asked him, well, when did this happen? And he said, oh no, it happened about 10 years ago. The dad is living with his mom. The mom and dad are together. They retired, and the dad's doing other stuff now. And so I said, well, that's an old story then. Why are you talking about it as though it happened yesterday? So he was still broadcasting the story. And I've got a lot of women and men actually now that are referring to them as single dads. I'm a single dad. I'm a single mom. I'm a single dad. I'm a single mom. And it's got so many implications behind it, what you're broadcasting. You also have to watch how you broadcast around little things that you think are little, but they have huge manifestation implications. So for example, when you're sitting around the lunch table and everyone talks about how much the food costs, when you go to the grocery store, a dear aunt got into the car with me the other day, and the minute she got into the car, the minute I picked her up, she was like, I went in and I bought a loaf of bread, and I bought this and I bought that, and I bought and things are just ridiculously expensive. How are people? And it was like I was stepping into another world, because I don't talk that way anymore. I don't reference things that way anymore. I used to, and it's taken me dedication and persistence to fix my thinking, to actually get some level of control. So it was a shock for me. It's in the same way, saying jumping into picking her up and her jumping into the car. It was a shock for me. It was like I was stepping into a different planet when I heard her. And then I said to her, I don't know the cost of bread, because I choose not to look at things like that. And she was like, she immediately stopped, because she knows what I'm about. And we started talking about better things. We started reaching for better topics. Then we started getting to what she wants to do. She's older, and what she wants to, her likes and her passions. And it was the six senses had taken over and opened up for us in the car. And now she was thriving and blossoming, because her energy was channeling into the right places, into her talents, her self-expression, the things that get her going, her mind, her soul. So it just became awesome, because we were no longer closing ourselves off and making ourselves smaller. So in the same way, I picked her up and she got into my car, and I was shocked hearing her talk that way. In the same way, money is shocked when it hears you. The laws of money get shocked when they hear you talk that way, and they hear what you're broadcasting, and that's when they're like, okay, let's walk away. The lines of communication are not flowing here. There's no meeting of the minds. Let's go to somebody else. Let's favor somebody else. Let's send the waves of luxury and fortune to somebody else. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. It's not personal. Remember, creating your reality is all about three things. It's energy. It's frequency, it's vibration. That's it. Bottom line. Bottom line. If I'm going to give it to you in a nutshell, it's going to be those three words. And those are the words of Tesla, those are the words of Einstein, those are the words of Napoleon Hill, those are the words of all the greats before us, living greats, recently deceased, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, bless them, you know, how significant they were, current people, Bruce Lipton, um, so many, Greg Braden, so many people. You'll hear this in every century, you'll hear those three words: frequency, energy, vibration. So what you think of a satellite tower, and that's you, okay? So, for example, my family know when they laugh at me. They said, oh, we better get our conversation going on before Sandia joins the call, because she's going to say, don't talk about shame and money in the same way. Don't, they make fun of me and I love it. I'm in on the joke, because it makes me feel good, because it shows how far I've come, that they can recognize that I don't talk that way anymore. I'm trying not to, and it has changed my reality. It has changed my world. It has allowed me, given me permission to jump lifelines, not focus on fixing this lifeline, because that's where the law of attraction. I've just gotten off a podcast now with somebody in the States, and we were talking about the abuse of the law of attraction. And the abuse there is that the framework wasn't given to you. It's not an overnight thing. It's like you learned how to, the alphabet, and you learned maths, and you learned, how to spell and write in your language. It took a number of years to get that going. You learned how to walk. It wasn't instant, you had to crawl first. So it's repetition. So when you change the subconscious, it's through two things. It's hypnosis and repetition. So you've got to put this into practice. And before you know it, fake it until you make it. That's okay. That's okay in the beginning. And before you know it, it's second nature. It's second nature. And when you hear somebody, you will get shocked like I did. Okay? Take care.